Calm. So, fight night Cannonier vs Braille just happened a few days ago, and I'm gonna matchmake what makes the most sense for every significant fight on the card. Right? It was a pretty good card, so, and I'll be honest, I've not seen the main event yet. It's not on Fight Pass right now. I don't watch it live, but I have a rough understanding. I've seen some highlights. I have a rough understanding what happened, so yeah, I'm able to give my opinion, my verdict, what fight should be next. And I'll be honest, right now my head's hot. I just tried to record this twice, but each time I clocked my microphone was off, so I had to do it. This is my third time recording this right now, so let me get through this, man. Cool. First fight, the winner of the main event, Caio. Dominant performance from what I heard, from what I've seen. He got hit a bit, but significant win, statement made, so I think he should be fighting someone high up the rankings. Not quite a title shot yet, but I think he should be fighting Sean Strickland, to be honest with you. Now, this is what I mean, like, I'm matchmaking in terms of what I think makes the most sense, not what the UFC would actually end up doing. Because we know Drickers vs Strickland is going to happen next, even though I have no interest in that at all. I couldn't care less. It's such a dead fight, like, I don't enjoy any Strickland fights. And the first fight was so, like, low level and hard to watch. Like, I don't know, I didn't enjoy it. So I think this makes the most sense. Then DDP should wait for the winner of Whittaker vs Kamzat. Like, DDP's not this type of guy who fights. He's not that active, like, but it's not like a inactive, you know what I mean? He fights a reasonable amount of time every time. He's not gonna fight this year, I don't think. He'll probably fight March something next year, I guess. Oh yeah, because they're going to Sydney next year. So maybe he'll fight in Sydney. I don't know if he'll fight in Australia again, but they're going to Sydney in March as a pay-per-view, I'm pretty sure. So I think maybe he could fight in March, Sydney. But yeah, so in the meantime, Caio vs Strickland should fight each other in the main event of a fight night or even a pay-per-view main card, because Strickland's kind of a star at this point. But I think this makes more sense. And in the meantime, you do Izzy versus the winner of Imavov Allen at maybe around the same time that that DDP fights or should be fighting Whittaker or Kamzat. Then the winner fights the winner of Kamzat, Whittaker and DDP fights Caio Strickland. Then the winner of that can fight the winner of Izzy Imavov Allen. That probably sounded mad confusing, but you know what I mean, right? It's just a perfect schedule every time, so it makes sense. And it's a great fight as well, like, it's not a boring fight. Caio's entertaining. Strickland needs a dance partner to make it entertaining. Yeah. If Strickland fights Izzy, like 10 out of 10 times, it's gonna be a boring fight. The first fight was boring, it just got overshadowed by the fact that it was an underdog performance and it was completely unexpected, so yeah. Caio vs Strickland makes all the sense in the world to me, but it's not gonna happen, let's be honest. But this is what should happen. Next up, Cannonier obviously lost in the main event. I think he should fight Fluffy Hernandez. I bet everyone is saying, I haven't really seen what people are saying, but I bet everyone's saying Cannonier should be fighting Costa because, they've been booked before. They've both been at the top of the division. They both had their title shots. They've both come off losses, but I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of matchmaking people who are coming off losses against each other, especially people coming off two fight loss streaks, also haven't been at the top of the division. Like, it's unproductive. Doesn't do much for the division at all. Let's say Cannonier beats Costa, like, he's gonna have beat someone who's already on a 2-fight L streak. Then he's gonna be 1-2 in his last 3 anyway, so he's not gonna project himself to the top of the division again. He's still gonna be sort of like around 7, 6, 8, around there, you know what I mean? So I think he should fight someone coming off wins, someone who will actually be considered a good win at the time. So if he beats Fluffy Hernandez, who's on like a 7-fight win streak at this point, something like that. He beats Pereira in his fight night, then I think this makes all the sense. I think he beats Pereira still. I think he just got to survive the first minute with him, then I think it's pretty easy, to be honest. The second he gets the first takedown, it'll probably be over. So Cannonier vs Hernandez, and it's a fair jump up because he's on a massive win streak. He's not been necessarily getting his ranked opponent yet, and he's been ranked for quite a bit. So let him fight someone pretty high, but it's also not going to put him in position of title contention straight away. So let him build himself up. After this, he can get 2 wins. He can get a title shot. So he's pretty close with a win here. So Yeah, I think this makes sense. It's a big jump up. Even though Cannonier is coming off losses, he's still ranked higher, so it doesn't really matter, right? If he wins, he's gonna be ranked high in the division, so this makes sense. Next up, Michael Morales versus Jeff Neal. So I'm a bit confused and annoyed by the booking of Neal versus RDA. Doesn't make sense to me at all. Even if RDA were to be, why is he still fighting ranked opponents? I just clocked. Who's he beat recently? He just keeps losing. He lost to Gamrot, he unnecessarily fought Gamrot up the rankings. That fight made no sense. He lost to Luque, to 2024 Luque. Or was it? No, it was 2023, but still. It was Wash Luque coming off the Jeff Neal fight. Like, he hasn't got good wins recently. Why is he still fighting ranked opponents? Given someone outside the rankings, I don't know why he's fighting Jeff Neal, but regardless, I think Jeff Neal wins, and I think Morales should fight the winner. Put this on a pay-per-view main card opener probably, or maybe even a fight night main event. I'll be honest, I'll tune into this. It's a great fight. I'll just say this, to be an Apex fight night main event, just because it's between high-ranked people doesn't mean it's a great fight. For example, Lemos Jandiroba, that was probably the worst fight night ever. Even though it was actually a good card, but the main event, like, no one cared at all. Even though it was between like number 3, number 5, something like that. And it just didn't feel like there was much at stake. So yeah, I think this is the type of fight that I'll tune into. The winner can, especially if Morales wins, he's gonna be looking at the top of the division already. So I think this is a good fight. Fight night main event, pay-per-view main card opener, something like that. Great fight. Let him build himself up a bit. Fight the winner maybe in February or December maybe. Actually no, Jeff Neal's fighting in October, so maybe not. Early next year, I say. Great fight. Calm. Next up, a fight I probably don't care about, if I'm being honest. Like, I couldn't care less if this fight doesn't happen. I don't want it to happen. I don't want to see this guy fight, Nick Diaz. Not necessarily because I'm a fan of him. I just don't think he's not gonna it's gonna be such a dead fight. And I know the UFC are gonna do something so silly, like maybe put him in a fight night main event, or put him in a co-main or a 5-rounder. Makes no sense. Why would you give this guy 5 rounds? When you saw his Robbie Lawler fight, which was what, probably 4 years ago by now, and he's gonna be even more washed now. When you saw him back then, like, why would you want to see this guy fight again, especially in 5 rounds, and against Luque as well, which they initially booked him in? That makes no sense. I don't know, but you must if you're. I personally wouldn't even, if I was a matchmaker, I wouldn't even give this guy a fight. I would just. But if you're gonna give him a fight, you might as well just give him someone who's in the same position as him. Old, like, veteran, dead fighter, slow. Yeah, just give him stuff like this. I bet it's gonna be on a main card pay-per-view as well. It's gonna be a wasted spot. It's gonna be a dead fight, but people value Nick Diaz. He's a big name, Diaz Bros. I mean, yeah, I think this should if Diaz does fight, this is probably the best fight for him. The most winnable. It's winnable as well, to be fair. Man, he's not great. I don't know what he's good at. He just somehow wins fights. So yeah. Next up though, I don't really care about this fight. Wang Kong, I don't know how to pronounce the name, versus Casey O'Neill. It's been a while since I've seen a flatline KO like that in women's, like, especially with a punch. Last one I could think of was Shevchenko versus Jessica Ai, which was also the same card as Diaz Lawler, funny enough, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and it was a kick, it wasn't a punch. I haven't seen a flatline punch in so long. I can't think of one off the top of my head at all. So if there happens to be a TKO in women's, it's a TKO after like 20 punches and they can't take any more, they give up. So yeah, push her up the rankings, like, she's promotable. Walk off KO, she had the Joker mask painting in the face off, low-key aura, can't lie. Like, it was kind of cool. And she flatlined her in a minute. She walked the walk, she talked the talk, she beat Shevchenko in kickboxing as well. You could use that to promote her. Give her a ranked opponent straight away, in my opinion, because she's unique. You don't really see anyone getting wins like this. So I think it makes all the sense. O'Neill's ranked number 15, coming off a win as well. So yeah, I think this makes sense. Probably another Apex Fight Night card, funnily enough. Yeah, Guan Kong vs Casey O'Neill. Next up, there's no fight that makes more sense right now for either guy. GM3 vs Craig. I'll be honest, I don't want to see this fight at all. I was even thinking of not putting this in the video, but like it just makes too much sense to not include, right? Craig was just ranked, not ranked anymore. So if Craig was still ranked, this fight probably should have happened. But he is ranked, sorry. So GM3 versus Craig. They're just perfect for each other, right? Craig should not be fighting any great strikers. He should just be in jiu-jitsu sorry. He should just be in jiu-jitsu matchups against these old guys. Great jiu-jitsu, no striking, no power, no old, like, no power, no speed, none of that. Just a good old jiu-jitsu match, good scrambles, all of that. Grappling exchanges, I guess. I'll be honest, I will not tune in at all. This is going to be Apex co-main event for sure. I can just see it already. I think it would be silly to not book this, to be honest. Any other opponent for either guy, like, probably not going to want to tune in at all. This makes sense. And next up, last but not least actually, Myron Santos versus Andre Fili. It's probably one of the highlights of the card actually. I'm shadowboxing in my room right now. So I'm just trying to recreate what he did, even though you can't see me right now. So the guy came in, Khan Olfi, I don't know his name. He came in, he was just started blitzing and he slipped off to the side with a beautiful straight. Then he came back, so he put his head off the centre with a straight. Then he pulled back into the centre with a clean, tight left hook, keeping his right hand perfectly up. Spun his head around, put him down, head down, cheeks up. Brutal stuff, like. And a few follow-up shots as well. So, and I'm a big believer, if you get a good KO like this, I believe you should be projected up. Not unnecessarily, but, you know, that doesn't necessarily make sense. If this guy just won a 29-28 decision, like, give him a similar caliber of opponent, you know what I mean? Because he got a beautiful KO like this, push him up the rankings. So we could see if this guy gets more KOs like this, we could see him do this in the rankings at high stake fights with high stake fights against ranked opponents. So I think it makes sense. So guys, I think Andre Fili's the perfect dance partner. Not ranked, coming off a win, fraudulent win against Cub Swanson. I thought Cub Swanson won, but doesn't matter. So Santos versus Fili. Make this a fight night main card somewhere. Even ranked, not ranked. I said ranked. Crowded fight night. I would not mind seeing this fight at all. I think it's a great fight. So yeah, these are my fights to make next. Let me know what you think down below. Yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.